All right, so the next step, basically what we're going to do is attach our little lip, which overhangs like this, to our shelf, and we're also going to drill the holes on the side, the pocket holes, to mount the sides of the TV stand to the shelf. So that's what I'm going to work on right now. That just basically consists of drilling pocket holes. So I'm going to put 5 along this edge to hold that lip in place, and then I'll put 3 on each side to hold the shelf to the side of the cabinet. This is the same process as before. If you want to measure out, this is really not very critical as long as you've got 3, 1 about in the center, 1 a couple inches from the edge, 1 a couple inches from the edge here. So I guess I'll measure it. We're at 19 3/4 here. So this board measures 19 3/4. Half that would be 9 7/8. So right in the middle, 9 7/8. And I'm just going to put 2 inches from the edge over here. And then over here, same thing, 2 inches from the edge. So like I said, this doesn't have to be ultra precise. I'm just going to make it symmetrical on both sides. That's the important thing. You might want to take your measurement and transfer it to the end of the board so you can actually see it. And you're putting your jig in place. And then you would just line this line up here on your mark. A speed square may also be useful to square this up if you'd like to make it square. Again, it doesn't make that big of a difference. You just want it to be mostly 90 degrees. Nobody's going to see this stuff anyways. This is going to be underneath. And then drill your holes. And since we're doing the same thickness board that we did last time, we didn't have to adjust our drill or anything, and this is going to have the same overhang as it did before when you were cutting your pieces for the sides, or drilling your pieces for the sides, I'm sorry. Go do the same thing on the other side. Now again, we're going to do this edge here. I want to have 5 of those this time. So we're at about 60 inches there. I'm just going to put one right near the middle, right at 30 inches. Again, like I said, this doesn't have to be perfectly centered. This is going to be on the bottom side of the board, so nobody's even going to see it anyways. So now I'll pop another one here at 15. And another one here at 45. And then, let's see. Yeah, we'll go 2 inches off the edge again. And then 2 inches off the edge over here. And we'll start drilling. And as you'll probably notice, these kind of overlap a little bit. So if you don't like the look of that, you can pop this out to like 2 1/4 or something like that. Doesn't really matter to me. Again, it's going to be on the bottom side of the board. So now you're ready to attach your finished piece to the front here. I think I'm going to take a little compressed air and blow this off real quick though. So basically the way you want this to fit on, what you want is you want this to be nice and flush with the edge, and then you want this bottom edge to be flush as well. This would probably be best achieved by using Another piece of material 3/4 of an inch thick to give you double the thickness, 1.5 inches, and then clamping it together. Actually, I'm going to go see if I have something like that, because that is the best way to do it. Okay, so what you want to do now is run a little bit of wood glue on the side where it's going to be making contact with your board. So there we go. And you want to make sure that this side is flush with this side. And you can achieve that, and also that the side is flush here as well. You can achieve that by putting in a little scrap piece of wood here, like I'm doing, and then 2 more scraps of wood so that you don't actually hurt your piece, like so, and then you're going to put your clamp in position. I think what I'm going to do here is run 1 screw right in here to kind of hold this in position. I'm not going to worry about if it's perfectly flush or not, because when I come back and put the board in, that will hold it. But for now, I just want this to hold this in place. I'm not going to drive it all the way in either. I'm just going to run it a little bit like that, just to kind of hold it. I'm going to put this in position so I can get everything nice and squared up. If you have a woodworking clamp, that would be best. I do not. I just have these big C clamps, but that'll work too. So what this is going to do, again, is line it up nice and flush on the edge there. So I can clamp that nice, not too tight, because I want the screws to be able to pull this taut to the board and get everything nice and tight. And I can feel some of the glue running down from the bottom, so you might want to grab a rag and just kind of wipe that real quick. Or you can wait till after you put your screws in. That's probably better. Put the screws in first and then deal with that. Go ahead and move on down. Of course, my sawhorse is in the way there. I'm going to go ahead and pull this one back out and reseat it just to make sure it's threaded where it needs to be. There we go. And there we have it. So now we're going to start putting together our pieces for the top. And you want to kind of, as before, take a look at your boards and see which side looks the nicest, which side you want to be on top. So this side has this big crack here. If you want that crack on top, leave it facing up. If you don't, flip it over to the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and just flip it over to the bottom. Same thing with this. We got this big knot here that's kind of missing some spots. And looks like it was on a pallet right here. Has some marring and stuff like that from storage at the hardware store. So we're going to flip that over and make this the top. Even though we got a bit of a crack here, I feel like this side looks better. So same technique here. We're going to use the pocket hole screws again. So I'm going to use 5 again, just like I did before. So I'll use this similar measurements. I think this board's a little bit longer. Actually, yes it is, because this sits on top. So we're at 64 on this one. So I'll put a mark at 32, which should be pretty much the center of the board. And then we'll do half of that, so 16. And then we'll do 1 at 2 inches. Actually, I'm going to do it at 4 inches because this does have a little bit of overhang. I don't want to have 2 screws impacting each other, because this will fit to the bottom of the side with pocket screws, I think, as well. So, haven't quite decided on that one. We'll see. But, want to keep the nail away from it anyways. Or, keep this screw where it's joining the board from it anyways. You know what I mean. So I'm going to do the same thing on both sides because I want to be able to grip both of the boards from the center board. So I'll mark both sides for 16, 32. Actually, this one I'm going to offset because that's where that big knot is. So I'm going to put this one at 30. And I'm actually going to flip the board over and put the pocket hole screws on the other side, because this is the side I want to face up. So we've got that all marked out. Flip it over. Drill our pocket screw holes. All right, so this time, like I said, we got to find out which side we want to be up. This is the side we want to be up, but the pocket holes are going to go on the bottom side. So flip over and have the bottom side facing up for now so we can attach these boards. Not so sure that that worked. No, it didn't. All right. Huh. Yeah, it sounds like my drill's going dead. So it's sort of seeming like we might have to put something underneath here just to give it a little bit more movement this way as we're tightening the screw. So I'm gonna grab a piece of cardboard or something. So I'm just gonna shove a piece of cardboard under there, give it a little space. And I just want it to be underneath this board, not this one. So let's try this again. And that's not working. So we may have to drill another hole and do it that way. So the issue I'm having right now is this board seems to be pretty warped, has a good little bend in it. It's kind of doing this business. And I'm trying to use the pocket hole screws to pull it back straight, right? That's putting a lot of stress on the screws and it's pulling out the wood. So what I'm going to do is add more pocket holes along that side so I can run a few more screws. That way it's less tension per screw. If this board was straight, I wouldn't be having this problem right now, but it's not so straight. So I've got to kind of work with what I've got. So actually I'm going to do the same thing on both sides, just in case that other board is giving me a little trouble as well. All right then, let's try this again. This board's all kind of warped, look at it. Oh well, that's what I've got to work with. All right, so that's the one that I had straight. And what I'm going to do is just kind of try to go down the line and hope that it pulls it in little by little without pulling the threads out and all that stuff like it was trying to do before. Okay, so I'm not going to tighten it all the way, and actually I'm going to adjust my drill so it goes a little easier on everything. Move this piece of cardboard down. Looking good so far. Seems to be working well. All right, so that ended up working a lot better. Oh my God, look at this board. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. All right, so basically we're gonna repeat the same thing here. think I'm actually going to start in the middle since it's got such a big bow in the middle and try to work my way out. Again, I'm not going to put it too tight because I don't want it to pull the threads out. So the moral of this story seems to be it might be actually better to buy a nicer pine for the top. I didn't do that because I was looking for the rustic look. However, just to make it easier to work with, I mean, you see how warped and crazy this wood is. I'll be able to make it work, I'm sure of that. But that's pretty crazy. I think for this I'm going to move back up to the sawhorses. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just going back and trying to pull everything nice and tight. So this is looking pretty good, but on this side we've still got a bit of warpage on this board here. It's not quite sitting flush. So I want it sitting nice and flush without a gap. So that's what I'm currently just trying to do. Just trying to snug it up little by little without messing up the threads. To get that gap nice and tight. So I think that's the best we're going to be able to get this. I still have a bit of a gap here, but I was going for the rustic look anyways, so there we go. That ought to work.